the Jeff Meacham Network's Multiverse of Media. For over 15 years, the recognized symbol of excellence and the standard bearer in coverage of sports and entertainment.
What is going on, everybody? Happy Monday afternoon. Yeah, it's afternoon no matter where we are in the United States because it's only 4 o'clock back east. Welcome to Meach's Musings. I know I'm super early today, so apologies in advance for the inconvenience for those of you that are inconvenienced by a early stream from good old JM. It is kind of what it is. As I stated on social media, circumstances far beyond my control have necessitated my early stream today. So indeed, Daniel, what's on my mind? What do we want to muse about? That is what we're going to do. This is, of course, the Shill Show. We're going to talk about what's coming up this week, as stated in the description below. But I do want to briefly talk about the shows I was on this weekend and kind of follow up on that. That's JJ got the memo, so good for that. Basically, this last weekend, and the Jeff Meacham you saw on open mic night, as well as the No DQ review, was motivated by irresponsibility in my personal life. Part of it my own. So I do take accountability for my end of it. I will, in an effort to avoid legal nonsense later. Dude, you are good. You are beyond good. I fully expected to be on at 4:30 after picking Dylan up from school and taking the bus back to the other side of town. Unfortunately, circumstances have become what they've become, but we will definitely run the new watch along trailer tomorrow during the either For Love Wrestling on the Costume Studios or From the Mind of the Renegade, also in the Costume Studios. So be looking out for that. We'll talk about both of those at the end of this stream. Yeah, there were just some decisions made this weekend, mainly Friday, during the course of SmackDown that just chapped my ass and led to a very annoyed, very problematic weekend for me, a very worrying weekend for me. Things appear to be settled for the moment, so I will pray that continues to be the case. But yeah, the NWO gear's on. Those in the know what that means. It's going to be one of those, we're back in wartime again. There's a promoter that's based, well, you can call him a promoter, I guess, and not a very good one, based out of Jacksonville, Florida, that thinks he's, back in a renewed Monday Night Wars era, which is not the case at all. It's not a war. It's barely a skirmish at this point. But I know what it is to live in wartime, and I have wartime experience. So yeah, it just kind of is what it is right now for the foreseeable future. But as my dad pointed out on the way over here to the studio today, I've got this to look forward to in a few weeks, which I'm so friggin' happy that I get to go back to Disneyland and see my favorite Disney show thing of all time return, hopefully to its original glory. We've got this coming up on Saturday, our coverage of Rebellion. We've got this coming up on Sunday, our coverage of Dynamite. And we got a whole bunch of stuff along the Jeff Meacham Network, Multiverse of Media. So I am stoked about everything coming up on our end. I did see the various news points today about Miss Ripley and her possibly, easy for me to say, I'll get it out, vacating the Women's World Championship as early as tonight's Raw. God, I hope that it was not as a result of the ridiculously unnecessary, might I add, chair throw she took last week at the hands of Liv Morgan. I'm not blaming Liv, not blaming Rhea necessarily. It's one of those you make the decisions in the moment, and then you look back and go, probably not a good idea. So if the chair angle did lead to the injury, that's why they don't do chair shots to the head anymore, folks. Or, attempt them, because, there's talk about Rhea's wrist. Either way, if it was blocking the chair that hurt her wrist, if it was the way the chair, it sucks. So, and it's unfortunate that after a year of being champion, something as seemingly throwaway as that moment backstage has led to an injury. It's awful. Again, if it's true, you read the reports on, where the reports came from, right? Kind of like the reports that came out about NXT definitely being the third brand again. Was there a WWE letterhead on those? I didn't see that. So maybe I missed that particular WWE post. I don't know. But I believe it when I see corporate ledger, like I always say. Hopefully Rhea's injury is not too severe. Hopefully she'll be back. If she does indeed need to go away, hopefully she'll be back in short order. I hope. As much as I did, admittingly, criticize the lack of matches on, even on pay-per-view, pre-live event. There was one lot of those. So, hopefully Rhea comes back if she does have to go away. Well, Walter, yeah, and I understand that, but and the other side of that is that chair stuff with throwing a chair at somebody shouldn't happen in 2024. And it very well could have been the shoulder against the wall, which somebody else knows about shoulder stuff a year later. So it could be a number of things. Like, it really could. We'll just have to wait and see what happens. What happens on Monday Night Raw. This is a hot take from JJ. I'm not gonna necessarily disagree with some of the points here. It's Liv is very popular. I know Liv's not popular in your house. So it's that shouldn't be happening, period. That shouldn't have been allowed to happen. There's a reason chairs being used like they were last week in that backstage segment are not permitted. If it was indeed that what do you call it? My brain is just not happening. If it was the chair that caused the injury, if it was the shoulder to the wall that caused the injury, if it's a shoulder thing, then yeah, it's definitely a Liv and Rhea thing. If it's a chair thing, that's accountability above Liv. And I'm not blaming Liv for that, but I also management should be like, let's not do that. Let's not do that. So again, we will just have to wait and see what happens there. Like I said, I hope these reports are found to be unfounded. I guess found to be unfounded is a very redundant terminology, but what are you gonna do? Anyway, we've got a lot of cool stuff coming up. Again, For Love Wrestling returned as it does every Monday. So I hope you guys got a chance to see that this morning. If you did not see it, make sure you tune in Monday through Thursday across the Costidian Studios, because that is where you will find For Love Wrestling exclusively. JJ reviews Raw, SmackDown, NXT, Dynamite for now, up until at least Double or Nothing. We'll see if they improve. And Impact is not being reviewed on that show, as far as I know. And if it is, you know what? I'm sorry, it is. It's just not on Fridays. But he is reviewing Impact as well, and NBA Power. So please give that a look. Each and every Monday through Thursday across the Casa Teen Studios exclusively. Because JJ, he will sit there, God bless him, and take notes, even if the shows are what they are. He'll sit there and do his notes thing, and I'm ever impressed by his ability to sit there and meticulously do that on a regular basis. So to be fair, Liv wants to get revenge on Rhea for that, and that's within the context of the revenge tour. Like, it makes sense that Liv would act like this. However, when a storyline driven message turns into a real life injury, that's where it gets a little silly, right? I mentioned that JJ will be on tomorrow. That is at noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern, as he presents another entry from the Mind of the Renegade. Is AEW dead? Or at least is it on its way to dying? Because my goodness, it's this last week, again, I said it on both Open Mic Night and on the No DQ review. My week last week is 4 pictures. The smile on Roman Reigns' face during the pinfall over Cody Rhodes, Cody handing the WWE Championship to his mother, and the looks on the faces of Tony Schiavone and Renee Paquette is just, it's awful. And, JJ makes a valid point. NWA Power, as much as when it's a better show than Dynamite, there's a problem. And it sure is speed. Yes, that is valid, man. If you have ever seen that documentary or read that book, I don't know if it became a book or not. I take that back. Forgive me. Or if you read the ridiculous, very one-sided, very, kindergarten-y written Death of WCW, man, AEW is just like on that track. Inside the Mind of the Renegade. I apologize. Very hard to read from here. I do apologize, JJ. I apologize. Again, my eyes are dog shit, and I'm having this on the phone because I wasn't supposed to be on the air at 1 o'clock. I'm sorry. Well, I hope they don't jump the gun. They'll really inspect the injury. They jumped the gun with Kennedy, and he wasn't as. Well, to be fair, Walter, with Ken Anderson and Mr. Kennedy, there was also other shit going on as far as him needing to be away anyway. So the injury was just kind of the injury was a scapegoat, right, Jack Gray? Anyway, I am assured, by the way, that in addition to Inside the Mind of the Renegade, tomorrow on the Cutting Studios, on both the Casa and the Jeff Meach Network, we will have Stat Boy Sports Bar, 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 Pacific. Mikey will be going live without me in the director's chair for probably the first half of the show, the first half hour, excuse me, due to, again, circumstances far beyond my control. Kind of is what it is right now. Speaking of, the Greg Cherry Show will also be on tomorrow. Wednesday, rather. God, I am so just not having a good time with this promotion stuff. It's supposed to be the Shill Show, and I'm babbling over my damn self here. So forgive me, folks. The Greg Cherry Show will be on in its normal time slot, of course, 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. Greg and Maddie will be on as they do. I never know about Maddie's status only because I'm not there every week, but I am doing everything I can to make sure I'm there for at least the second half hour and whatever else comes after that of Wednesday's show. However, I will not be there, unfortunately, Thursday to defend my Luck of the Draw championship. Come back and defend it, I should say. Again, having to pick up the kiddo at school necessitates me being out of the house at the time that show is usually on the air. So I do apologize to Greg and the fans of Luck of the Draw. I kind of ha-ha'd on social about it, but if the We Are Gonna Die tour of watch-alongs isn't going to kill me, it's raising a 16-year-old. Raising a teenager is going to be the death of me. There's one way or the other. There's one option, I believe, at this point. However, the dads, not always on wrestling, will be on Friday this week. Unless things have changed, we're still going to be on at 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific. And when I say use the term booking a Mega Mania, because we kind of talked about this briefly the other night, JJ and I are looking at the entirety of all 40 WrestleMania cards, including both nights the last few years. And we are choosing 10 matches per night. We're booking a 2-night event. So he and I are each separately picking 20 matches from the history of WrestleMania not using a person more than once in the context of booking this card, and formulating a WrestleMania, a mega WrestleMania, the ultimate WrestleMania. I don't want to use ultimate because it invokes the Warrior, but yeah, that's what we're doing. So tune in for that. It's going to be an awesome, I think, episode of Dads. It's a cool concept, I feel. And I look forward to what JJ picks out. I know I've got mine picked out already. I'm kind of hashing out the final details, I suppose, if you want to put it that way. But I'm confident that my selections are going to be well received by the audience and hopefully by JJ, because I do, as ever, value his input. I'm trying to find a graphic, so forgive me if I sound like I'm distracted. It's because I am. Fudge, where the hell did it go? Give me a second, guys. I do apologize. It's in here somewhere. We are live. And I know people that watch my show just to criticize are going to pick out this moment because I'm live and I'm fucking up. Da, 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 da. We shall locate what I am looking for in a moment. Can we select it? Thank you very much. There we go. Cool. So then Saturday, of course, we get into our watch-along special, as you see here in the lower third of the screen. Saturday, we will be on with our coverage of TNA's Rebellion, live from Las Vegas. Unfortunately, the dads will not be able to be there, again, due to other familial commitments and monetary limitations. But our buddy Dattila will be on site at the Palms Saturday, 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 Pacific for our coverage. And then, of course, the next day will be AEW Dynasty. Again, our coverage, 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 Pacific. In between, of course, our Saturday brand of shenanigans each and every Saturday as it airs. Open mic night at 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 Pacific. If Rebellion runs long, of course, we will be live after Rebellion. Just depends on how late it goes. See Mickey pop up now. Must have moved my phone a little too much, but always looking over my shoulder is Mickey the Mouse. And then, of course, next week, in addition to our usual streams of the week, we will be live with our coverage both next Tuesday and the following Tuesday of NXT Spring Breakin' at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. That'll be probably running concurrently with Stepway Sports Bar for the Tuesdays. And then next Saturday, the 27th, Match Game returns as part of our open mic game night series. So be on the lookout for all the things coming up here across the Jeff Meach Multiverse of Media. I had a graphic drawn up that illustrates all of our watch-alongs that are booked now, but it felt like a visual assault. It was very busy. But thanks to both New Japan announcing Resurgence as a pay-per-view, as well as Capital Collision, I believe it's what it's called. It's Capital something. And then AEW announcing the entirety of their pay-per-views throughout the rest of the year. We are now looking at 20 booked dates confirmed of watch-alongs across the Multiverse of Media, not counting the yet-to-be-announced date for Survivor Series, which is always a thing. TNA Slammiversary, TNA pay-per-views, throughout the rest of the year, pretty much, they're locked in as far as what month they occur and which shows they are. But also WWE's different shows beyond SummerSlam, between Berlin, the Battle of Berlin, and the end of the year. So all kinds of cool stuff coming up. I do appreciate everybody being along for the ride. I recorded a thing this morning that I was going to put on my Instagram stories, but the editing was just dog shit. So thank you again to everybody that tuned in the last 2 weeks, first 2 weeks of April. It's been a roller coaster, to say the very least, of passion and emotion and just all the things that go along with being a content creator, going along with being a parent, going along with being a wrestling fan, going along with being a sports fan. I'm actually, once we head out of here, we're going to go get the kiddo from school at the bottom of the 2 o'clock hour and drop him off at home, and then head off to the Kings game tonight. The Kings are their second to last regular season game. They're playing Minnesota, I believe, tonight. So shout out to our buddy Dory Lou over the sports bar. Minnesota Wild in town for the Monday night game, and of course Thursday night they're playing Chicago Blackhawks, last regular season game of the year, and then we move to playoff mode because the Kings have clinched. So we are at least having some first round hockey here in Los Angeles. So that'll be awesome. But that's all to come. Tonight, of course, you can check out NerdDQ.com's recap of Monday Night Raw. You can check out Tatilla's recap Monday Night Raw over on Rangers Wrestling. It's wrestling time. And of course, tomorrow for Love Wrestling, JJ will have his recap of Raw as well as Inside the Mind of the Renegade and his thoughts on the impending doom that will befell AEW. And of course, as I said, so looking forward to this on May 24th. I mean, I know my love of the mouse is silly. It's ridiculous. But if you're part of my Meach's Disney Fix group on Facebook, we'll be streaming this. Also, I'm back on the binge now that WrestleMania is over. So I started September 1992 this morning with the 20th edition of the Clash of the Champions, of course, celebrating 20 years of wrestling on the Turner Networks, TBS at that time specifically, with Macho Man, British Bulldog, and the Natural Disasters as the WWF champions, Ron Simmons, Bam Bam and Doc, Stunning Steve Austin, Ravishing Rick Rude as the WCW champions, and Masahiro Chono as the recently crowned in a tournament new NWA champions. So much fun stuff, between what I'm watching, between what I'm doing. So I try very hard to push forward and look ahead to the good stuff. We've got Fantasmic at the end of May. We've got Rebellion this Saturday. We've got Dynasty this Sunday. All the things coming up. But we can't do it until we sign off and say goodnight. So thank you all very, very much for tuning in. I know it's a little brief, but I prefer it that way sometimes. We will see you across the multiverse tonight and tomorrow for our coverage of Raw and our recaps of Raw, I should say, and all week across the multiverse. Have a good rest of your Monday, folks. Get those taxes done. Get your shit in.
The Jeff Meacham Network's Multiverse of Media. For over 15 years, the recognized symbol of excellence and the standard bearer in coverage of sports and entertainment.